What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I think we're live. Welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver and I'm a master's student in economics in Aalto University here in Finland. And on this channel, we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these weekly live Q&As, I answer your most burning questions about studying, living, and building your early career here in Finland. And how these live streams work is that I answer your questions live. And if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your question to the Google form that I have either pinned into the YouTube live chat, or which you can find also at the bottom of the description box below. First of all, I hope to wish everyone a great new year. Hopefully your holidays went awesome. I did have a great short little break. Spent my Christmas with the family and New Year's in Lapland, where we actually have some snow. But before we actually start the stream and I start answering your questions, I will just quickly share this live into our Discord server. And talking of which, if you are not yet a member of our Discord server, the idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in education or studying and working in Finland. And in the server, I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams, and we have a generally more personal discussion. Plus, the large number of people in the server helps each other out, so that whenever there's a question that I don't have the time to answer, there's always someone else who knows the answer to your questions. So if this is something that you're interested in, there's a link to join the server in the description box below. Anyways, I'll quickly link the live stream to the Discord server, so just a second. There you go. Awesome. First of all, welcome, ES. Awesome to have you here once again. Hope you had a great New Year's. The same to you, Jasvinder, as well as Yevgenia. Awesome to have you here as well. Sorry, I haven't gotten back to your latest question. I will after this stream or early tomorrow. It's been a heck of a couple of last weeks. I finally got a bit of a break from the hectic 2020, and hopefully things will start, moving a bit more smoothly from now on. Arthur, awesome to see you here as well. Welcome back. Alharet, awesome to see you here as well. Welcome to the stream. And guys, super quickly before we jump into the questions themselves, specifically to Alharet, if you want me to answer any of your questions live, there's a link to a Google form in the description box below, all the way at the bottom of the description box below. And if you have a question, please post your question there, because then I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to answer your questions in a first come, first served basis. Let me see, just a moment. And I think we actually had a couple of questions left from the last live stream from 2020. So I think I will simply jump in and start answering those. Arthur, I'm doing awesome. I had a bit of a break. Finally had the time to actually relax and take some time off. It did magic to my brain, and 2021 is going to be awesome. Hopefully it's going to be awesome to you as well. Anyways, the first question from the form comes from Raj Churai, who's from India and is applying to study at Aalto University this year. And Raj Churai is specifically applying for a bachelor's, so I would guess that he is applying starting now. Actually, the joint applications for bachelor's degrees at Aalto University opened today on the January 7th. So that's awesome. And he's interested in computer sciences. And the question is, hi, since most of the jobs in Finland are full-time, Is it possible to get a part-time job, maximum of 25 hours per week, as a programmer? And approximately how much can we earn? Great question. Unfortunately, this is a very difficult question to answer, because getting a part-time job is not only dependent on your field, but it's 99.9% dependent on you and your ability to get yourself hired. I have a couple of really interesting interviews where I interview recruitment experts from Finland, and we talk quite a bit about getting hired as a part-time employee as a student in Finland. And they're really, really good listening. If they're really, really good interviews, if you want to check them out, go to the YouTube channel and then go all the way to the bottom on the YouTube channel to a playlist, interviews with recruitment experts, and go through both of them. I think that you're going to get a lot of value and a lot of really, really good practical tips out of them. But yeah, it's really difficult to say whether or not you're able to actually get hired. However, having said that, in the field of computer sciences, software development, etc., your options to getting hired are in general much better than in most other fields. The reason for this is simply that there is a massive demand for talented software developers in Finland, and actually a lot of students get hired full-time to different companies even before they graduate. This usually does not happen to bachelor's level students. If you're studying at a university, this mostly happens to master's level students, but it's actually becoming a bit of a problem for universities in Finland because they can't get people to actually graduate because they get super highly paid jobs already while they're studying. So definitely it's possible for you to get a part-time job as a computer scientist during your studies. However, as I tell every single person who asks me about this, if you are coming to do a bachelor's in Finland, so basically that means that you are a high school graduate, it is not realistic to rely on getting a job to pay for your living costs, especially not during the first and the second years. Simply because you don't have any skills, or this is a bit of a generalization, but it holds true in most of the cases. As a high school graduate or as a bachelor's level student who is doing their first or second year, you don't usually have that many practical skills in your field. You don't have any work experience in your field, meaning that employers in Finland are not that excited about hiring you and actually pay you salary, because they want to they prefer to hire people who actually know what they're doing. No offense, but this is how it works. About the question, approximately how much can we actually earn by doing part-time jobs in computer sciences? Completely impossible to say. It depends not only on you, your personal experience, your skill set, the technologies that you use, but it also depends on the company as well. So the spread can be really, really big. So it's impossible for me to say, unfortunately. We're getting some new people on the stream. Welcome to Mua Sonny. Awesome to have you here as well. Welcome to the stream. Guys, if you have any questions, please post your questions into the Google form that is linked at the bottom of the description box below. This way I will have the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to get to your questions in a first come, first serve basis. The reason for this is that if you post your question into the YouTube live chat, the chat usually gets pretty busy during these live streams, and I will miss your question, so please don't get offended in that case. So if you want to make sure that I will be able to answer your question, post them in the Google form. The next question comes from Arthur, and I think this might actually be an old question, but I'll do it anyways. The question is, I am planning on doing my semester abroad in Finland. What city or university do you recommend me the most for international business? And as a refresher, Arthur, Arthur, who's from Brazil, would be doing a bachelor's degree in international business in one of the universities of applied sciences. I would definitely recommend that you do your bachelor's in or your semester in Helsinki, especially if you are. Oopsie daisy. Let's see. Especially if you're just doing one semester, I definitely recommend Helsinki, simply because there's much more happening in Helsinki, the capital, the metropolitan area. But secondly, if you're going to do your entire degree, then definitely Helsinki if you're actually able to get admitted. So it's not the universities in Helsinki are all, as a rule of thumb, more difficult to get in compared to the rest of the universities around Finland. One of the reasons being that most people actually want to study in the capital. So, but yeah, Helsinki definitely. In terms of doing international business and a bachelor's specifically in a University of Applied Sciences, I think I could definitely recommend Metropolia for you. I would say it's one of the best, if not the best, University of Applied Sciences in this field. The rankings, I never look at them directly because they're not relevant in most of the cases. Ali Reza, awesome to have you here as well. Welcome to the stream. Lea, Denise, what's up? Awesome to have you here as well. Hopefully you had a great break. Hopefully you had great holidays and a great New Year's. This year hopefully is going to be much better than the last. So awesome to have you here. Anyways, the next question comes from Jet Koti, who's from India and applying to study a bachelor's in economics at Aalto University, starting this application period. So again, to reiterate, the joint application period for bachelor's degrees at Aalto University has started today. The question is, can you tell me about the crime situation in Finland? Well, I can only give you my perspective, which is that the overall crime rate in Finland is extremely low. Unfortunately, during the COVID period, we have seen a spike specifically in crimes committed by teenagers, which is extremely sad. I have no idea what the reason behind this is. It's currently being investigated, but on top of that, I don't have anything to mention there, basically. Finland is an extremely safe place to live in. I think, going back to one of my earlier videos, I think Finland is actually currently ranked as the safest country in the world to live in. Our overall crime rate is extremely low, especially considering considering homicides and other physical crimes. We don't have, if you, for example, think about like taxis or vendors on the streets in many, especially big cities, even outside of Europe and even inside Europe, in many of the capitals, there's a lot of fraud. But in Finland, that doesn't really exist here because the market and many of the businesses are so heavily regulated here. So when you, for example, jump into a taxi at the airport, you can 100% trust that first of all, it's a legal taxi. You're not going to pay any extra, and everyone has to use a meter. So I would trust Finland, in terms of safety, 100%, absolutely. The next question comes from Aaron, and Aaron is coming to Finland for work, not for school. And the question is, this just crossed my mind. Does foreigners with no permanent resident permits or Finnish citizenships get paid less than people with permanent residence permits or citizenships? I'm almost 100% sure I've read this somewhere. I'm sure that you've read that somewhere. I can tell you that does not hold true at all. If it does, that is discrimination, and that is something that you could actually bring up. And any company who would actually discriminate against you for being a foreigner would be in a lot of hot water for that. I've never heard of this. I hope this never happens. one good way to make sure that this does not happen to you is having an open dialogue about the salary levels that your potential future employer is paying for you versus then your different colleagues. Of course, do keep in mind that people are paid different salaries even in the same positions, but I haven't read about this, I haven't heard about this. I'm sure that there are some individual cases, but there's, at least I have not seen any proof of consistent discrimination in terms of your salary as a foreigner. So I would not be worried about this at all, especially as a person who has a higher education degree. All right. The next one, actually, before we jump into the next one, let's say hi to a couple of other people. Princess Jam, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here. Comedy Machine, awesome to have you here as well. Welcome to the stream. Let's see, God Gamer, stay godly, and awesome to have you here as well. Let's see, we have. I think that's all. Ali Reza, I think I already said hi. Yeah, I did. Yeah, awesome to have actually quite many people here on the stream. Awesome. Once again, guys, if you are new to these live streams and the regulars, Yevgenia, for example, if you could please guide everyone else. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your question into the Google form that you can find in the description box below. If you post your question into the live chat, I will definitely going to be miss it. And however, if you post your question into the Google form, I will get the questions here in front of me and I will go through them in a first come first serve basis. Next question comes from Scarlett from Bolivia, who is applying to do a master's in business, focusing on, in business, focusing on marketing and communication. And Scarlett is saying, just a suggestion, could you include future videos of study techniques or how students study there in Finland if everything is much more relaxed and no one will control your study hours? All right, so I remember this question from last year. So I was talking about the local studying culture in Finland, which is way more relaxed than compared to many other countries, like especially the US or the UK. You could also perhaps make a comparison between Germany and Finland. In Germany, students have to study much harder because getting an F, basically failing a course, is much more risky than in Finland because they actually have consequences. While in Finland you can fail a course as many times as you want, as long as you pass it at some point. But yeah, so Scarlett was asking about different study techniques. I would simply say that the same study techniques apply to Finland as well. However, you simply have to remember that you are fully independent, you are fully responsible of your own studies progression and your own grades. No one will be, pressing you. No one will be sitting or standing behind you and watching that you do your job. And if you don't do your job, you will fail courses and you will maybe not ever graduate. So independency, you need to learn independency. You need to learn time management. You need to learn good study techniques that will not burn you out, even if you have a lot to do. And you need to give yourself some slack. That is something that this is something that I tell a lot of new students, freshmen, when they come to study in Finland, especially if they come from countries where the studying culture is much more rigorous, where you have to get, the best grades. In Finland, you need to learn how to give yourself a slack. Your career is not going to go bust because you get a bad grade from 1 or 2 courses. In reality, they will have no impact whatsoever on your future. So learn to tell yourself when enough is enough, and just so that you can actually pass your courses and get your degree. Those would be my tips. The next question comes from Zihan from India, who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in whichever field has the highest demand and money paid. Right, so highest salaries. All right. And there's 2 questions. First, is it possible to change the field of study after coming to Finland? No. In general, no. So, okay, let's go back. So basically, there's two different ways you can look at this. Number one is that you change your speciality or your major. So, for example, you come here and to study a business degree, and you major in finance, and then you maybe want to change that to economics at a later stage. That might be possible depending on the university and their rules. But if you, for example, are admitted to study a bachelor's degree in finance, then the chances of you being able to change that to economics in the middle of your studies is pretty low. Most likely, the university will not allow you to do that because you have been admitted to study finance. But the second way to look at this is that is to look at your speciality and the different courses that you do. So you have to keep in mind that even if you come to study a bachelor's or a master's in finance in Finland, that doesn't mean that every single course you do is about finance. In Finland, we have quite a lot of flexibility and freedom on structuring our curriculum to our own liking and to our preferences. So if you do a master's in finance or mechanical engineering, whatever, take your pick, you will have a specific set of mandatory courses that you have that are mandatory for everyone. Basically, those are going to give you the baseline skills that everyone in your field are going to need. However, there's also a lot of selective courses that you can take. You always have to do almost always you have the opportunity to do a minor, which you can do in almost whatever. So, for example, if you do your master's in finance, you major in finance, but you could minor in accounting or economics or even computer sciences if you want to. So in that case, you can actually have quite a lot of flexibility in your curriculum, even though you basically major in one topic. So if you get my point. And then the second question was, what is the most in-demand job in Finland? Impossible for me to say. This is a very wide topic. However, if we change the question into what is the most in-demand field in Finland, then the answer would be computer sciences is one, or software development is one. However, of course, there's demand for other stuff as well. So if you want to do a business degree, there's always demand for business graduates, no matter if you study finance, economics, accounting, marketing, whatever. However, the computer science and software development field has been growing hugely during the last 4 or 5 years, and it's a really good field to be in. Anyways, let's see. New people in the stream. We have HXLYIDK. HLXKD. Sorry. Sure. That's a mouthful. Yeah, so there is a Google form at the bottom of the description box below. If you want to ask your question there, I will not miss it, and I will be able to answer your questions in a first-come, first-served basis. We have Ashish as well, saying hello a lots of time. Hello to you as well. We have Rifat. Awesome to have you here as well. And that's it. Awesome. Let's get back to the questions. The next question comes from Aaron. And the question is there a difference between a high school diploma and an institution diploma in Finland? Let's see. I don't know. I don't know what an institution diploma is. If any of you guys know what an institution diploma is, or what did Aaron mean with that in his previous question, let me know in the chat. Tag me in the chat and tell me what it is. But if no one can explain it, I can't answer the question, unfortunately. I've never heard of an institution diploma, so that's for sure. Anyways, the next question comes from Jayat Koti, who is from India and is applying to do a bachelor's at Aalto University in economics. Awesome. And the question is, do exchanges in university help you in the Finnish job market? All right, so does it help you in the Finnish job market if you have done an exchange period, so exchange abroad, during your university studies? Sure. I guess so, yeah. There's no negatives about it, basically. Do keep in mind that, so if you do an exchange period during your studies, so for example, some of you might know, I actually started this YouTube channel originally when I was in Germany, in Munich, studying there at the Technical University of Munich. And I was doing my bachelor's level exchange period in Munich. And that was a part of my bachelor's degree in Finland. So a lot of people choose to do an exchange period, some don't. I would say that the positives are that, of course, you see the world, it's a lot of fun. Having a change from your home country to a different culture is awesome. You usually have a lot of opportunities to travel during your exchange. You meet a lot of new people. In addition, you actually learn new cultures, and you learn how certain professional things are done in other countries. For example, I got to know the German working culture. I got to learn the German university culture, and I got to learn what kind of a different way German students look at things compared to Finnish people. But on the other hand, so that's of course positive. It's all positive things. And I do personally, as a future employer, I would look that as a positive. On the other hand, while some people do an exchange, some people don't, and they stay in their home university and study the same amount of courses that you would do during your exchange. So, it's pluses and minuses. On the other hand, you can see the world, and on the other hand, you can focus on your major, for example. So instead of doing your exchange, you could, do 5 more extra courses of financing, or finance, or economics, engineering, whatever. So yeah, sure. No negatives about it, at least. I'm not sure if this helped at all. Anyways, the next question comes from Punit from India. And he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's degree in data sciences / computer sciences at the University of Helsinki. Awesome. And the question is, what are the academic requirements for getting into the University of Helsinki as a master's student? That is an impossible question to answer. Let's see. So this is every single time someone asks me what are the minimum requirements to get admitted here and there, or get a scholarship here and there, I give them the same answer. The minimum requirements to get admitted or to get a scholarship depend on the university, the degree that you're applying to, and the year you're applying during your that you're applying in. Reasons: every single university in Finland has their separate application requirements. They demand different documents than the other schools. They emphasize different things. For example, I know that the University of Helsinki emphasizes academic records more than some other universities. But then again, it also depends on the program that you're applying to. Every single degree program at each university in Finland has different admission requirements compared to every single other program in Finland. And third, it depends on the year that you're applying in, because in Finland, admission is done on a competitive basis, meaning that only the best applicants each year are admitted. This means that if the minimum requirements during 2020 have been X and Y, they're going to be different during 2021, because the people who apply are going to be different, right? So it fluctuates every single year. So this is why, for example, when people tell me that they read that in order to get a scholarship, you need a certain IELTS point, or you need a certain GMAT or GRE point to get a scholarship, during 2020, and they've read this on Reddit or Facebook, that does not apply the next year, because the next year the requirements are going to be different. So I just want everyone to understand this, because this is a super common question that I get, right? So impossible for me to answer. I know that the University of Helsinki actually has a bit more information about what kind of things they emphasize on their admission website. So please go ahead and refer to that website first. All right. The next question comes from Ben from Germany. And Ben has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's at the University of Helsinki or the University of Oulu, specifically in the field of business. Awesome. Um, the question is, hi, I'm already studying a master's program in business in Germany, and I'm not sure if I should start over in Finland. Do master's degrees in business from universities in Finland have higher value than master's degrees from universities in other European countries for job seekers in Finland? Would you say fresh international graduates in Finland have an advantage in getting employed in Finland over people with degrees from outside Finland, but who already have some work background? So, do people who have a degree from Finland do they have an advantage over people who have a degree from abroad, but who also have work experience? And does doing an Erasmus exchange have any value? First, again, referring to the exchange study. So Erasmus program is basically an exchange. Yes, that will have value, but the amount of value is going to depend on the person you're talking to. Personally, I value international experience a lot. As a future employer, I want to hire people who have international experience, who have who understand the value of diversity. So I would value exchange. However, some other people might not value it as much. However, to the big question at hand. So, do people who have a degree from a Finnish school have an advantage over people who have a similar degree from a school abroad, for example, in Germany? Yes and no. Yes, in a sense that I unfortunately know many cases where employers that are hiring have read people's CVs and had interviews with people, and they basically end up not choosing that a specific candidate who has, for example, done their degree in London or in Munich or in Rome, because they have had a somewhat similar applicant from Finland who has gone to Aalto University or the University of Helsinki. And this sucks. So this sucks really, really bad. I don't think there should be any argument, or there doesn't exist any argument for why having a degree from Finland should be better than having a degree from abroad. If they are equivalent, and especially if the person who comes from abroad has already some work experience. In my eyes, whether or not you have a degree from Finland or from abroad, I don't give a damn. I'm looking at the different schools. So if you for example come from India, I will be looking at the school, whether how good the school is. I will be looking at your grades. I will be looking at your academic record and recommendations. However, if you are on par with your experience and your skills with a Finnish person, I don't see any reason for choosing the Finnish person because they have a Finnish degree compared to you, unless you are at the time of the recruitment process living abroad. That would be the one big reason why I might choose the Finnish person. Simply because it's easier, logistically, it's easier to hire someone who is already residing in Finland compared to someone who is residing abroad. The number one reason being work visas. However, if you are a student in Finland with a foreign background, it doesn't matter because you're already in Finland with a visa. So, yeah. Guys, if you have any questions about this is a really interesting topic. It's a very complicated topic, but if you have any further questions about getting hired with a foreign degree versus a Finnish degree, just let me know and I'll get back to you. Let's see, we have new people in the stream. We have Ashish, what's up? Awesome to have you here as well. We have Haresh, welcome. If you could please write your questions in how do you say? if you could please write your questions so that I can actually understand them. You're currently writing in, I think that's in foreign letters. Not completely sure of the language, but Indian, I would guess. Anyways, yeah. Next question comes from Fleischman. Fleischman, yes, Fleischman. Awesome to have you here as well. I love the fact that we have the regulars joining the stream. Again, Fleischman is from Hungary and does not yet know whether or not he wants to study in Finland because he's still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences. And the question is, I found a lot of master's computer sciences degrees, but I found no bachelor's. Right. Okay, so reformulating the question. Fleischman has found multiple master's level computer science degrees taught in English, but he has not yet found any English-taught bachelor's level computer science degrees. Great question, and I think Fleisch, you're still online. So the reason for this is that most of the bachelor's degrees that you should be looking at are actually not named computer sciences. I know that this is really stupid and it's really confusing, but bear with me. So in Finland, you have to take into account that the degrees and the degree structures in Finland are a bit different from other countries. So the names might not be as obvious to you as, the names of the degrees might not be literally the things that you want to study. So for example, if I say like master's in accounting or master's in international business, there are multiple degrees that teach international business on a master's level, but they might not be named international business. They might be like master's in economics or master's in international finance or something else. Yeah, awesome. So let me show you. So for example, let me share the screen. All right, so as I mentioned, the bachelor's level applications for Aalto University have already opened, or they have opened today on January 7th, and people are super confused about this. So if you go to the listing of the English-taught bachelor's degrees that they have, and you go downwards, you have a bachelor's in design, economics, international business, science and technology, and that's it. So where's the computer sciences? All right, so now we have to look at the science and technology category. So we have a bachelor's in science and technology chemical engineering, so that's not for you. We have a degree in computational engineering. That's already pretty close. Then we have one in data sciences, digital systems and design, and quantum technology. So none of these are named computer sciences. However, most of these degrees have parts of computer sciences in them. And as I mentioned previously, even though your major would not be literally what you want to study, for example, if we look at the degree in computational engineering, and we go and look at the content of the studies, we have mathematics, engineering principles, so thermodynamics, mechanics of materials. We have computing, so programming principles and algorithms, that is computer sciences. We have numerical methods, that's computer sciences, and we have finite element methods. Well, that's not necessarily the exact thing. However, then you can also minor, in addition to your major, you can also minor in other stuff as well. So your minor is computational engineering. However, you can also take a minor in computer sciences or in software development. So basically you would have a mix of computational engineering and computer sciences, as most people know it, literally. A second option is I think it was digital systems and design, not completely sure, but let's check. We have building on the education of decent mathematical and programming competences. The programs educates and deepens their understanding of understanding through various integrated courses and blah, blah, blah. Combines theoretical knowledge with applied experiences in multiple disciplinary fields required to plan and develop large digital systems such as autonomous cars, planes, blah, blah, blah. The studies cover the design of such systems as well as essential components in networking, electronic circuits, estimation and learning control and automation, as well as optical communication. So these are all really close to computer sciences. They're a bit more specialized. However, again, remember that you can mix and match your minor. The same with data sciences as well, and quantum technology, if we go through these really, really quickly. Let's see. Right, so in data sciences, we have mathematics, programming, industrial engineering and management, language studies, and then you can do your minor studies again, which is 25 credits out of 180, where you can basically choose whatever you want from the field of computer sciences. So for example, software development or data management or cloud computing or whatever, algorithms, whatever. So don't get hung up with the name of the degree that you're applying to. Excuse me. I know that this is really, really confusing and that the universities perhaps should be doing a better job in naming their degrees to be more descriptive. However, there are a bunch of different computer science degrees in a bachelor's level that you can do. You just need to find them. All right. If you want, Flash, just send me a message on Discord, and I will try to list out a couple of computer science related bachelor's degrees for you later this week. All right. Anyways, I hope that helped you with the topic. Let's jump into the next question, which comes from Ali Reza from Iran. And again, Ali Reza has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, and has no idea about the schools. However, is interested in computer sciences. The question is, so I'm technically in the 11th grade now, so in high school, and I now want to study my last year of high school in Finland, if possible, and then continue studying there for getting my bachelor's degree. Can I study in one of Finland's high schools in English? No. Technically speaking, no. So there are some high schools in Finland that have English education, but those are all private schools, and they do have pretty high tuition fees, and I highly doubt that they will accept anyone in the last year, especially considering that your high school final exams will be in the last year, and you're going to be very confused if you come and just do the last year and then do the Finnish matriculation exams, which is the name for the final exams. So I would say no. It might be technically possible, but I would say that you're going to go through a massive hurdle in order to get, accepted into a private English teaching high school in Finland, be able to do the, last year of Finnish curriculum, and then do well in the final exams. So I would say that the best plan is simply to do your 12th grade in your country, Iran, and then apply to study your bachelor's in Finland. I would say that this is the number one plan that you should actually consider. All right. The one thing that you can do in order to increase your chances of getting to study in Finland in your bachelor's is study hard as during your last year and do really well with your high school final exams, and then do really well with your SATs or whatever, IELTS, TOEFL, whatever the potential exams are that you need to do, the aptitude tests, etc. So I think that this would be the best way of going about it. Cool. All right. The next question comes from Umar from Pakistan, and he is already studying in Finland. Awesome. At the University of Oulu, doing a master's. Nice. And a master's in geology. Oh, that's cool. All right. That's really nice. The question is, moved here a week ago. Welcome to Finland. Awesome to have you here. I think I might have actually replied to one of your comments recently on the YouTube channel. Awesome. But yeah, welcome to Finland. Hopefully you have had a great first week. It's usually super confusing, especially now that we have a lot of snow. Want to inquire about part-time job opportunities that do not require Finnish language skills. Right. So this is a very common question. And my usual answer here is that, especially when people come ask this question when they are doing their bachelor's, my answer is that the best bet is to look for part-time jobs in the service sector. So meaning restaurants, cafes, grocery stores, bars, whatever have you. However, the problem right now is, first of all, not all, but some of those jobs do require Finnish skills. Because if you're in direct contact with customers or consumers, then you most likely have to have some Finnish skills. Of course, if you are working in a bar as a bartender, that might not require you to speak Finnish. However, the problem is that most bartenders in Finland actually have a degree in restaurant business. So that might be a bit tough. However, in your case, because you're actually studying a master's in a very specific field, in a very, very niche field, in geology, I would actually go directly for part-time jobs in your own field, especially since you're in Oulu. Geology, mining, excavation, all of these kind of things are very relevant to Oulu. So I would start looking for jobs in your own field. However, keeping in mind that it's going to take a long time, because first of all, finding a job in Finland as a student usually takes from a couple of months to even a half a year, depending on where you apply and how good you are at selling yourself as a future employee. However, if so I'm sorry, I lost my words. So, but the one good thing is about you specifically is that since you came here now, January is actually when a lot of big companies start recruiting for the summer. So this usually doesn't apply to part-time jobs. However, I think this is a good time to start looking for jobs. And what I would recommend you to do is to go to the channel and look for, look for this playlist, Working in Finland as an International Student, and specifically look for this video. Excuse me. How to find part-time jobs for international students in Finland, 15 tips. So in this video, I go through 15 ways or 15 tools you can use to actually find a job in Finland as a student. For example, there's different career bulletin boards, career services, fairs, student organizations that you can connect with that are specifically specialized in your field. There's different recruitment companies that I can recommend. There's different hackathons. You should definitely join LinkedIn if you have not and start being active there, start networking with local recruiters, etc. So check out that video. I will link that to the chat. And I think you're going to get a lot of really good ideas from there. There you go. And if you have any questions after watching that video, please post them into the video or come back here and check them, ask me, and I can elaborate a bit more. However, I think that's a very good starting point for you. All right, the next question comes from Al Hareth. Al Hareth, who comes from Jordan and has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in IT or healthcare. All right, cool. And the question is, if I studied in Finnish, is there an entrance exam and can I work and stay after graduation? So if you're meaning whether, if you are alluding to studying a degree in Finland in Finnish language, I ask you to forget that right away. That is not realistic. So a lot of people ask me this. I get this question all the time. So the reason why people ask me this is that they hear on the web on forums that if you study in Finland in Finnish, you don't have any tuition fees. That is true. If you study in Finnish in Finland, there's no tuition fees. However, being admitted to study in Finnish in Finland as an international student is almost impossible. It's literally almost impossible. I have a full video about this topic. However, I can say the one thing that I will say here is that you need to speak basically native level Finnish in order to get accepted to study in Finland in Finnish. And there's no way for you to learn enough Finnish in a year or two in order to make this possible. As simple as that. So, yeah, again, to your question, is there an entrance exam if you study in Finnish? Yes, there is a very rigorous entrance exam, and it's only conducted in Finnish or Swedish. So you need to basically have a native level Finnish or Swedish skills in order to actually get accepted. So I would forget it. It's not worth the effort. You're much better off doing well in your SATs or GMATs or IELTS or TOEFL or whatever you need to do in order to get admitted to study in English. Yeah. And to your one more thing about your question, you asked about if you are able to do a degree, can you stay in Finland after graduation? Absolutely. If you do a degree in Finland, you will have a chance to get a visa to work here. First temporarily, but after staying in Finland for X amount of time, you will also have an opportunity to apply for a permanent residency. All right, hopefully that cleared this out. The next question comes from Lea Zidansek. I'm sorry, Lea Zidansek. I think Lea Zidansek. I think that's close. I think. Cool. Anyway, Lea is from Turkey, and she has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in IT at Aalto University. Awesome. And the question is, is an HIV test required during either during job applications for IT sector or residence permit process? Lea, if you could please elaborate a bit more with an HIV, so literally HIV tests. Do you mean HIV the disease or HIV something? What does the abbreviation stand for? I'm not sure, so I will not answer that now. If you can elaborate a bit more, I will be able to answer your question right away. But if you could just clarify that first for me. The next question comes from Yevgenia, our lovely YouTube channel member. And again, Yevgenia is from Lithuania, and she is applying to study in the University of Lapland, do a master's in tourism management, and saying, "Hi Oliver, can you tell a bit about neighborhoods in Espoo? How does renting work, and is heating included into the rental costs?" That's actually a very interesting question. So there's not a single simple answer here, but I would say that the neighborhoods in Espoo, which is a city next to the city of Helsinki, Espoo is one city that is included in the Helsinki metropolitan capital region. And Espoo is a very big city, so there's a gazillion different neighborhoods that are, vary from lower end neighborhoods to more expensive ones. But if we talk about, heating costs in general in Finland, heating is basically always included in the rent, or at least we don't pay for heating separately. So it is quite common that electricity is not included in the rent and you need to pay for electricity separately. However, that does not usually include heating. I'm sorry. Heating usually is not included in the electricity costs. Rather, heating is a completely separate issue and it is included in your rent. This is because in Finland we need to heat our apartments during the winter, and the electricity cost would be absorbent if you would have to pay them separately. So electricity usually means how much you keep your lights on, how much you watch your TV, etc., etc. So I would say that, yeah, heating definitely is included in the rent, especially if you're living in a apartment building. However, if you live in your own building that you've actually built yourself, then you, of course, need to pay for the heating, but that's a different discussion altogether. Renting, how does the renting work? There's multiple different companies that rent apartments. Just a moment. All right, Akash, I put you on a timer. Please, if you keep spamming, I will have to ban you from the chat. Please don't spam. I have noticed your question. For everyone, if you want me to answer your questions, please do not post them in the live chat. Rather, post them into the Google form below. And if you spam, I will ban you from the channel. Because then everyone else will not have an opportunity to ask a question. Anyway, back to Yevgenia's question about renting. So there's multiple different companies renting out apartments. In addition, there's a bunch of apartments in Finland are actually rented by private owners. So the only thing that I can say for sure, or the only thing that I can generalize about renting, is that you always have to have a literal written rental agreement. That's the only generalized thing that I can actually say. We can talk about more specifics if you have more specific questions, but this is such a wide question that it's impossible for me to give any more specific unless you give specific. Unless you give me more specific questions. So Yevgenia, if you have more specifics about this topic, let me know in the chat or in the forum. I'll get to them. But it's such a wide topic that it's impossible for me to answer them without writing an essay about it. I hope you understand. Anyways, the next question comes from Sunny Sharma from India, and she's not coming to Finland to school but to work, and she's coming to work on mobile apps, marketing and advertising. All right, that's cool. And the question is, my ex lives in Finland. He got called from Supercell for his work. Okay, that's pretty darn cool. So for those of you who don't know, Supercell is the Finnish company behind the games Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, etc. It's one of the most prestigious companies in Finland, especially in game development, and it's extremely hard to get employed by them. So good for him. He has to be pretty good in his job in order to get a job at Supercell. Anyways, how easy is it to get employers who can sponsor, or what are other ways to get work visas? So I don't fully understand the question, but if I understand, let me know if I did not understand the question correctly. But what I think that you're meaning is that how easy is it? 1 second. There you go. So if I understand the question correctly, you're asking how easy is it to get employed by a company who is going to help you with your work visa applications, for example. So when you come to work in Finland for a Finnish employer or for a company working operating in Finland, you need to have a residence permit to work. And you cannot get a residence permit to work unless you already have someone who is going to employ you. So you need to basically go through the interview process before you can actually get a work visa. And a lot of Finnish companies that employ international people will help them out with the residence permit applications and with the entire process, because of course it's better for them to get that done as fast as possible. Unfortunately, the negative side is that currently, not taking the COVID situation into account at all, getting a residence permit to work in Finland as an international person, even if you have a degree, is really darn difficult. At least it takes a long time. I actually I recently spoke with a recruitment expert who has um, 20 or something years of experience in running companies, international companies. And he said that at worst, it can actually take up to a year to get a visa to work in Finland as an international person, which is completely insane. It doesn't make any sense, especially since we have such a need for talented international people in many fields. But anyways, to the question, how difficult is it to actually get employed or hired by a company who is going to go through the process with you? Um, I would say that it's not easy. And if I would give you any advice, I would go for the big, multinational corporations. There are, of course, some smaller companies, like especially in the game development field, that rely heavily on international talent, and they recruit all from abroad all the time. In addition, there's a lot of companies specifically in the IT sector, software and computer sciences fields, that rely on international talent, and they do help and sponsor their future employees to actually get into Finland. But unless you're looking for those kind of companies, I would go for the international multinational corporations like Nokia or Kone or whatever have you. And when those companies are recruiting, when the recruitment ads, job ads with those companies are in English, that means that they are actually prepared to actually recruit an international talent. So from there, you can already know that they're prepared to actually do the work to get you, if you're talented enough. It's a really difficult question, and unfortunately, I cannot give you any more details. I would have to know much more about your personal situation, your expertise, experience, etc., to give any more comments. But this is a general idea. Once more, guys, there's a lot of new people here. Yavid, awesome to have you here as well. Ale as well, awesome to have you here as well. Welcome to the stream. Guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. So just open the description box that you have under the video, go all the way down, and between two yellow exclamation points, you have a link to a Google form. Open it and you can write your question there. The reason we do it this way is because the live chat gets extremely busy during the live streams. And if you post your question into the live chat, I will miss it and I will not be able to answer your question. Rather, if you ask your question in the Google form, I will get the question in front of me here on the computer, and I will be able to go through all the questions in a first come, first serve basis. All right, the next question comes from Abhi Shah from India, who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in computer engineering. And he's saying, hello, what is up? My question is that to be eligible for permanent residency, you must have worked for 4 years in Finland, but living in a constant state of worry that you might lose your job and have to go back to your respective country. Is it worth the 4 years plus an additional 2 years to do your master's degree in order to get a permanent residency in Finland? Even after securing the job in a decent company, you would still have the slight worry that about losing your job and thus losing your possibility for permanent residency. Great question, super important question, and of course, I cannot give you a guarantee here, but what I can say is that you don't have to worry about losing your first job after actually graduating. So as I've understood it, please take everything that I say here with a grain of salt, because I am not a immigration expert. However, how I've understood this to be is that your permanent residency or your eligibility to apply for a permanent residency is not relying on you keeping the first job that you get for that 4 years. What I do know is that you need to work for 4 years full time in order for you to become eligible to apply for a permanent residency. And this is after you get your temporary residence to work in Finland. All right. So if you lose a job, you can always apply for a second one. And I think that there is some kind of a grace period in between. So if you lose your job, you will have a specific amount of time to actually look for another one. And especially if you do a master's in computer engineering, I highly doubt that you're going to have any problems, especially again with asterisks. As long as you know what you're doing, you should not have any problems finding a job as a master's in computer engineering in Finland, because there's such a high demand for people. Also, in terms of when we're speaking about getting a job from a decent, let's say, multinational large corporation, usually people stay in those companies for a longer period. So I would say that the one thing that the one big reason why you would maybe lose your job is, of course, if you don't know what you're doing at all. But then second is that if they have to cut the number of employees because they are doing really badly financially. Of course, last year, so 2020, and the COVID situation was a prime example of just this. A lot of companies had to cut their budgets, cut a lot of employees, but these are things that you can never see coming, and they apply to every single person. So I would not be worried about those kind of things, personally. But yeah, this is a completely valid question. I would advise you not to worry, taking into account that even if you don't, for some reason, get to do get a permanent residency in Finland, I don't see any reason for that. So knocking on wood, having a degree from a Finnish university is still going to be a very positive thing for you. If you, for example, want to work in Europe or in the States or in the UK, for example, getting a master's in Finland is highly respected abroad as well. So I would not worry, especially considering that you're in computer sciences or computer engineering. There's high demand for the talented people in that field, and I would definitely encourage you to come here to study, because we need people like you. We need talented international people here, and that is the only reason why this channel exists, so that I can actually encourage you to give you guys information about this, so that please come here and work and pay taxes. We need you guys. I know, funny. I'm really funny. Anyways, moving on. The next question comes from Jan Havi from India as well. And she has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in sustainable architecture or sustainable infrastructure. Awesome. Really cool. I really, really, really like this. And Jan Havi, is it a J like ja or ja? Jan Havi. Let me know in the chat. Hi, I hope you're doing well. I am actually doing really well. I've had a good start for 2021. Hope you have had that as well. My question was, how valuable is the degree from Finland, so sustainable architecture, a master's? Will it give me a better position and a better earning in my home country? I would, of course, like to say no, because we always want you to stay in Finland if you study in Finland. I would actually advise you to do a master's in Finland and stay here, because you're paid really well with a master's degree in architecture here. Again, with an asterisk, as long as you know what you're doing, and as long as you're able to get a job in your field. So, but yeah, I definitely, yeah, having a master's is always better than having a bachelor's, especially. All right, I'm going down the rabbit hole, so sorry for you guys. There's a lot of discussion, especially nowadays, about whether or not having a master's is valuable, whether or not having a university or college degree is valuable. And a lot of people, are claiming on the internet, on YouTube, on Reddit, everywhere, that doing a degree, especially a master's, is completely, BS, and there's no value to it. And I couldn't disagree more, especially considering the kind of knowledge-based future that we're going to, that is heavily automated, you need to have a degree that and a skill set that cannot be automated. So if you have a bachelor's degree in accounting, that is going to be one of the first jobs that is going to be fully automated. However, creative skills or creative fields like architecture, art, design, game development, marketing, these kind of things, they're very difficult to automate. So having a bachelor's degree is not as future-proof as having a master's in whatever the field you are in, simply because while doing a master's, you go so much deeper into your field and into the topics that you study compared to doing a undergrad or a bachelor's, that even if one of your jobs gets automated, for example, infrastructure or design or one part of infrastructure design gets automated, there's going to be a bunch of other stuff that cannot be automated that you are going to be a relevant employee for too. So absolutely, if you have an opportunity to do a master's and get deep in the knowledge in your field, I highly recommend it. It's going to pay you back later, definitely. Of course, again, going back to your question, please stay in Finland. We need you guys, especially if you do a degree here. It's highly appreciated if you stay here and do a degree, build your career in Finland. Let's see, there's a couple of new people who have joined the stream. Arun Prakash, welcome. If you have any questions, please post them in the Google form and I will get them from there. We have Shannon, awesome to have you here as well. What's up? Happy New Year. Hope you had awesome holidays and you were able to, dust off 2020 off your shoulders. I have, and I'm quite happy about it. 2020 sucked. It sucked really bad. Anyways, the next question comes from Yevgenia. And the question is, can you tell a bit about professional unions in Finland? Are there any for IT professionals and can non-Finnish citizens join them? Absolutely. So this is actually a really good question. So Finland is a extremely highly unionized country, meaning if you don't know what unions are basically groups of professionals in a specific field who come together and negotiate different things for all the people working in the field. So basically this means that you have more power as a group. So for example, in Finland, in many fields, unions have actually negotiated minimum salaries, minimum holidays for the year. You have other work-related benefits, maternity, paternity leaves, etc. So unions have a really big role in Finland. And union leaders and union groups are extremely active in Finland in improving the quality of work, improving the position of employees in Finnish companies. And personally, I think it's a really good thing. This is a political discussion, so I will not go too deep into this because some people say it's a bad thing, some people say it's a good. However, the union, let's see. Let's see. Let's see if there's a. Let's see. I'm quite sure that there is a union who serves IT experts as well. I'm not aware which union it is and what the name is, so I cannot link it. But I'm pretty sure that there is a union for IT professionals as well, simply because of the fact that Finland is such a heavily unionized country. How much the union is impacting your, for example, minimum salaries, etc., it's hard to say because those depend a bit on the unions and how large the union is, so how much negotiating power they have. And non-Finnish citizens can absolutely join unions. And even if you don't join a union per se, you will still be able to benefit from their work because if you work in a specific field, you might still be working under the rules and regulations set by the union together with companies, employers in that field. So you don't necessarily have to join the union per se to enjoy the benefits that they have given you. But yeah, if you have any more questions about this topic, let me know. I think this is a good generalization of the topic. Anyways, the next question comes from Henry from Germany. Losing my words. What's up? Awesome to have you here as well. I was trying to speak German, but my brain completely short-circuited for a while. Anyway, Henry is applying to study at Aalto University, doing a bachelor's in international business and economics in the next application period. So I guess right now, because the application for Aalto bachelor's degrees has opened today, January 7th. Hashtag not sponsored. And the question is, I saw that it is essential to take the SAT test for German students. I've already registered for the test for March 30th, but they asked me if I want to take the SAT test with an essay or without. I was looking for further information on Aalto University's website if the essay is essential as well, but I didn't find any information on this. Do you know if I have to take the SAT plus the essays as well, or only the regular SAT test without the extra essay? Really good question. Let me check this for you right now. Just a moment, so I'll just recheck. Excuse me. So international business and economics. Right, let's jump with me. So again, really good question. So again, make sure to check the specific application requirements for each program from the university website, because they are going to vary between schools and programs. So for Aalto University bachelors, specifically the English-taught bachelors in economics and international business. Let's take economics first. How to apply. SAT. All right, so let's see. There. So required tests for the SAT. We have the evidence-based reading and writing and mathematics sections. So Henry, these are the ones that you need to do. I haven't looked into the SATs that much myself. I've actually never done the SATs myself. So I can't really specify this anymore, whether or not these include the essay. But if you link or write this specific requirement to the SAT organizers, they should be able to select the specific tests for you, right? So I can actually link this Aalto bachelor's SAT. I'll actually link this into the live chat right now. So check out this website. You have to, if you Control F SAT, you will not find it directly, but rather you need to come all the way down to here, admission group 2. I'm sorry, not the here. Admission process, the heading, and then admission group 2, and you can find the SAT requirements right here. Great, awesome. Hope that answered your question. Excuse me. One more thing to on top of that, you don't have to take any extra exams that have not been listed in the requirements. Do note. So, for example, if the SATs, some of the extra components for the SATs cost extra, you only have to take those that are required by the university on their website. So keep that in mind. Excuse me. All right, so the next question comes from Denise. Denise is a regular on the channel. Awesome to have you guys here every single week. And the question is, can you talk about what your international friends are doing as part-time jobs? By the way, next year I'm going to apply to Aalto University today. Awesome. Yeah, sure. So This is of course a difficult question because there's so many different people studying so many different fields. I have of course a lot of friends studying business, and then I have a couple of friends who have done a degree in mechanical engineering. I have I know people who have done design, etc. And excuse me, many of them, especially. All right, let's go back a bit. Let's go a bit backwards for now. So I actually, when I started my school in at Aalto University as a bachelor student, I actually started my studies in a international tutor group. So we have a personal tutor and a group of new freshmen who the tutors guided through the first weeks and months. And I was actually in an international tutor group. So we had I think two Finnish people, me and another, and then we had the rest of the people. The guys were actually internationals. We had people from Iran, we had people from South Korea, we had people from around Europe, we had people from the US, etc. And every single one of them have gone to do different things. One of them became writer and philosophy student. One of them actually went to study in Harvard. One of them actually has founded a super successful Finnish startup in Finland. One of them is working as a finance expert in a international growth company. And what else? Yeah, one actually went to Silicon Valley to work for startups. So all over the place. However, the kind of common denominator here is that most of these guys actually did not work part-time during their studies because they were able to pay for their actually for them I think 2012, yeah, for them actually studying in Finland was free, so they didn't have any tuition fees, which meant that they didn't have to pay any they didn't have to work part-time to pay for tuition or for their living costs. So that's a bit of a different case. However, there was a couple of guys who came from, for example, from Vietnam and from other countries where their family background was not, they didn't come from wealthy backgrounds. So they actually had to work part-time in order to, live in Finland. And for the couple of first years, they struggled really a lot to find any kind of work. And I actually helped one friend quite a lot to find job in the restaurant business. And what we found out is that in the Finnish restaurant business, it's incredibly hard to find a job if you don't know where you're looking for, because especially if you go to any kind of mid-level or higher end restaurants, you basically need to have a degree in restaurant and hospitality business. For example, if you want to work in the kitchen, you need to be a professional cook. If you want to work as bartender, you actually have to be a professional bartender. If you want to work any other work in the or job in these kind of hotels or restaurants, higher end, you need to have a degree from that field. So you need to look at more like these lower end restaurants. But actually, the best case has been that people have actually found work in like cafes or grocery stores or in clothing stores as a clerk, sales clerk, because those usually don't require you to have any background experience or a degree, and some of them do not require English, Finnish language skills. Some. So the more in contact you are with Finnish consumers, the more likely it is that you need to have Finnish language skills, no matter the field. However, my recommendation is that if you come to study in Finland, especially if you come to do a bachelor's and you basically just have a high school diploma, your best bet is the second that you come to Finland, update your CV, create a LinkedIn profile, and write a couple of motivation letters, get really good shoes on, get a mask on, and then start walking through the city in every single restaurant, grocery store, clothing store, bar, whatever have you. Introduce yourself, be polite, tell or ask for a manager, and tell them who you are, where you're coming from, that you're studying in Finland in this and this school, and that you're looking for any kind of part-time work, to get some extra cash, for example, during the evenings or weekends. Be super humble about it, but don't be desperate, because employers in Finland don't want to hire, desperate people who tell them that I'm willing to do anything, because that doesn't really tell them positive things about your motivation. So yeah, I would say that this is the number one guide that I would give to anyone at this point. However, again, if you are further along with your studies and you are, for example, doing you come to Finland to do a master's and you already have a bachelor's and some work experience, then it's much more likely that you could apply directly for jobs in your own field. You simply need to know where to look for and how to look for them, but it's more possible in that case. Anyways, again, sorry, I cannot give you a direct answer to this because it's such a wide topic, but I hope that this gives you guys a bit more context. Anton, what's up? Awesome to have you here as well. Polar Echo, awesome to have you here in the stream as well. Akash, what's up? Who else do we have? Martina, awesome to have you here as well. Guys, if you have any questions, for example, Anton, I remember your question. Please post your question into the Google form that I have linked at the bottom of the description box below. And I will go through the questions in a first come, first serve basis. There's actually quite a lot of them here right now, so I will go through them quite quickly. But if you want me to answer your question live during this stream, I recommend you to be quick and write your question into the form so that I will be able to get to it before we end the stream. Anyways, the next question comes from Santosh from India, who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in data sciences at the University of Helsinki or Aalto University. Awesome options. And the question is, can you tell me a bit about the academic requirements of masters in the field of data sciences or computer sciences, and is it possible to get a fully funded grant at the University of Helsinki, and what are the requirements for getting that scholarship? Great questions. Unfortunately, I can only help you with one of them. So the question about academic requirements for any masters, this does not only apply to masters in data management, data science and computer sciences at the University of Helsinki. This applies to every single degree in every single university in Finland. I don't know. This is not public information. The minimum requirements for each degree each year is something that the universities do not publish, because and you have to take into account that there's a huge amount of different criteria that they go through. If you're applying for a bachelor's, you have your SATs, your language proficiency tests, you have your aptitude tests like SATs, GMATs or something. You might have a motivation letter. You might need to upload your CV. If you're doing a master's, then they're also going to assess your academic record. You might need to do an entrance exam. You might have to do an interview, etc. So there's so many different factors that go into the admission score that it's impossible for me to give you any kind of an answer here. Also, there's no point for you to contact the universities, because they are not allowed by law to give you any more information, via email or phone, any more than they have already publicly on their website. Because by Finnish law, every single applicant to the universities has to have equal opportunity to apply and get admitted to study there. So the only information that the university is going to give you is what they have on their website already public. And this is also why I really tell you not to trust any information about application requirements or admission requirements that you find on Reddit or YouTube or other social media platforms or forums. Why you can trust what I'm saying is that I'm not giving you any specifics. I'm just telling you that I don't know. But people who tell you that they know exactly what are the minimum requirements to get into a specific school, either they don't know what they're talking about or they're lying, because it's impossible for them to know exactly what is required, because that varies every single year. That changes every single year, and it varies from school to school to degree to degree. So yeah, that's it. However, what I can tell you is about the fully funded grant for the University of Helsinki. So if you bear with me just a moment. So for you, those of you who don't know, and this is a question that I get all the time, there are Finnish universities and universities of applied sciences have scholarships that they offer to every single person. Okay, let's reformulate this. Every single program that is a bachelor's and master's program that is taught in English have scholarship options available. They are only given to the best applicants or the best students that are admitted. And most scholarships in Finland do not cover living costs, your rent, food, travel costs, etc., etc. Most scholarships in Finland only cover tuition fees. All right, so this is super important to understand. However, the University of Helsinki is one of the exceptions. So they actually have a really interesting fully funded grant / fully funded scholarship, which covers the entire tuition fee for the length of your studies. So if you do a master's, that's 2 years. That's your full tuition fee for 2 years. And in addition, they're going to give you 10,000 euros to cover your living cost, your food, travel, whatever have you. This is amazing. This is something to kill for, basically. And there's no public information about how many of these fully funded grants they actually give out each year. It's not public information, but my gut feeling is that there's not that many. Which also tells me that they only grant these for the top of the top of the top of the applicants. How many? Again, impossible to say, but that is simply something that you need to understand. So let's see. Actually, and about the application requirements, admission. Let's see. So, all right. So, about the University of Helsinki, they actually list out quite well the different requirements for their different programs taught in English. So, for example, if we look at chemistry and molecular sciences, I think they should have a bit more. Here, the instructions and requirements at studyinfo.fi. I think they usually have. No. Just bear with me for a moment. The University of Helsinki, I know they have a. Here we go. For detailed information on the scoring used by the Faculty of Science in its master's admission processes, see here. So the University of Helsinki actually has specific admission procedures and scoring pages for each faculty, and they actually give you quite a lot of information about the categories scored and what they emphasize. So for example, here they have applicability of previous studies serving as grounds for application. For this category, the maximum number of points is 10. To be admitted, you need at least 6 points, etc., etc. So they are basically going through the entire scoring system here. They don't give you the they don't give you the minimum scores to get admitted, because again, this varies from year to year. However, they do say that if you don't get at least 6 points, you will not be even considered. However, it might be that the level of applicants this year is so high that you need at least 8 points from this category. So again, remember that these will vary from year to year, from school to school, and from degree to degree. So take that into account. Excuse me. All right. Again, I hope that gave you at least some context. sorry for not giving you a direct answer. There are none because these are very complicated topics. Anyways, the next question comes from Peter from Poland. And Peter has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a degree in engineering. And let's see. Does studies exist in Finland for adults? For example, in Friday, Sunday, and Saturday. So, all right. So, do we basically have school that emphasizes weekends and evenings? If we're talking about university degrees like bachelor's or master's level degrees, no, there's not. Most of the courses will be done during the day. There might be some courses that you could do in the evenings, and do take into account that most courses during your studies will not have mandatory attendance. So in a sense, you don't have to be in the class when they teach the topic or subject. There will be some courses where you have to be there in the class. It's mandatory. But no, I don't know of any like degree teaching schools that emphasize evenings and weekends, unfortunately. The next question comes from one more thing to Peter. Please take this with a grain of salt. I might be mistaken. I'm not an expert in this field, but this is the gut feeling that I have based on my experience. Anyways, the next question comes from Martina from Italy. It's awesome to have you here again. And Martina is interested in the field of engineering. And the question is, do you know if it's possible to apply for HOAS apartments even if you're doing an internship in a company and you're not officially enrolled in a Finnish university? Technically, yeah. HOAS does have some apartments available for non-students during the summer, specifically for the summer breaks. But in every other aspect, I think the answer is no. So I would say technically no. It's easier for you to get an apartment from other providers. Taking into account if you're doing a paid internship, you should be able to afford to actually rent an apartment from the private market. So I would not worry about this. But yeah, HOAS and the other student apartment providers are mainly providing apartments for students. The next question comes from Nicholas from Argentina. Awesome to have you here. Awesome to have you here as well. During the holidays, I've ceased knowing how to speak, apparently. All right. Anyways, Nicholas's question is, I'm going to study in Finland in a few years with Finnish as the language of instructions, and I come from outside the European Union area. Does that still make me an international student? All right, Nicholas, I would like to ask you, why are you coming to study in Finland in Finnish? Let me know in the chat. Unless you are a native speaker, or unless you, for some reason, are currently studying Finnish to get your Finnish to a native level, there is no reason for you to be able to study in Finland in Finnish. So I would like you to give me a bit more context to the question, because getting to study in Finland in Finnish, unless you are a native speaker, is almost literally impossible. Just as a heads up. So let me know in the chat, what do you mean that you're coming to Finland to study in Finnish? Are you actually a dual citizen with Finland? Do you speak Finnish or Swedish natively, or what's the story here? Because if not, I would not recommend even considering coming to study in Finland in Finnish. No way. The next question comes from Amy. Amy, who comes from the US, and Amy is still in high school, but considering doing a bachelor's in Arcada, Laurea, or YAMK Universities of Applied Sciences in the field of nursing. Awesome. And the question is, how can one afford to pay for tuition besides the help with scholarships, since financial aid isn't provided for international students? That's a very tough. It's a great question. It's a tough question, and unfortunately, the answer here is part-time jobs are not the solution, especially in the beginning of your studies, especially considering that even when you come here, you would be a high school graduate with a high school diploma from another country. This does not only apply to the US, but a high school diploma from another country, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience, it's going to be real tough to find a job. And when you come here, you need to get a residence permit for your studies. And when you apply for the residence permit for the first time, the Finnish Immigration Service is going to demand of you to have enough financial funds to actually pay for your stay here, not only the tuition fees, but also for your living costs. And they will not accept part-time work as a way to pay for your life during the first years. After 1 or 2 years, depending on what kind of a visa you apply for, you are allowed to pay for your living by doing part-time work. But for example, in your case, I would really not rely on this, because nursing, as with every other healthcare related fields in Finland, they're very heavily regulated here, meaning that you cannot work as a nurse part-time before you get to a certain point in your studies, because you need to get certified in certain things. I'm not sure what they are. But this is, I actually called the Union of Nurses in Finland, and they told me this. And this is a thing that a lot of people get into trouble with, because they think that they can work as a nurse when they study as a nurse or they study nursing. I would really want to say that student loans are not the solution. For some people are. For example, Finnish students, we do also take student loans. They're not that massive, and they're actually government guaranteed. So they are exceptional on the international stage. But I personally do have quite a lot of student loans taken out. But that's not a problem, because the interest rates are very, very low. What I would say is that especially since you're still in high school, especially if your parents are not able to sponsor you, during your studies, I would recommend that you try to find a part-time job in the US right away, and try to save every single penny that you make in order to support yourself with your studies. It's not a bad idea also to take 1 year after high school to work to get enough savings to support yourself, as long as it's if that's something that you really need in order to actually support yourself in Finland. The one thing is, excuse me. No, it's not COVID. The one thing that I really want everyone to understand is that coming to Finland to study without sufficient financial funds, without having the sufficient financial funds to actually live here is a really bad idea. During the summer, in the midst of the COVID crisis, the first wave, I actually got an Instagram message from a student from abroad, non-European Union student, who had come to Finland to study a specific, very niche, very specific field, so not like business or anything. And I will not tell you their nationality or name, of course, but this person had come to Finland with the idea that he can pay for his first year of tuition with his savings, and then he would pay for the rest of his studies so basically 2.5 years by working part-time. And I haven't spoken to him for a while, but I tried to give him a bit of advice on finding part-time jobs. But that was the worst time in history to find a job, because everyone was, unemployed because of COVID or furloughed. And the unfortunate reality is that he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle really, really hard. And the worst thing here is that if he's not able to pay for his tuition for some reason, any reason, he's basically his visa in Finland is going to be rejected, and he has to move back to his home country and lose the degree. So please don't come to Finland relying on getting a part-time job to pay for your tuition and your living costs. It is not realistic. Unless you are a master's student and you have a lot of experience under your belt already during your bachelor's. So, yeah. So, again, sorry for not being able to give you a direct answer. I would love to say student loans are not the answer here, but they might. Anyways, the next question is from Mahesh, who comes from India, living currently in Finland. And he is starting school this semester, a bachelor's in supply chain and human resources. Awesome. And the question is, hi, I recently started following your channel and it's been very informative. Thank you. I appreciate it. I do appreciate that. I'm starting my studies in August as a bachelor's in international business, and I'm interested in supply chain and human resources. How does the future look for me if I want to study and work specifically in supply chain or human resources in Finland? That's a really good question, and I did not sure, Mahesh, if you actually know about this, if you've stumbled on any of the videos where I actually talk about this, but I actually used to work for 4 years in a recruitment company. So I don't have my background is not in human resources or recruiting, but I worked as a marketing specialist at a recruitment company. And what I can say is that human resources is a very, very important, segment in business. Excuse me. But the one problem with, for example, working as a recruiter is, as an international person, is that, of course, many customers want to communicate in Finnish, especially if you're in direct contact with customers or if you're in direct contact with, potential employees. So if you want to become a recruiter, I would say that getting your first jobs in the field is going to be a bit difficult. So I would say that in terms of employment opportunities, supply chain management will have more potential, to be quite frank, simply because that is most supply chain management positions are back office jobs where you're not necessarily directly in contact with the customer. Plus, supply chain management is quite a wide topic. So you learn quite a lot of different things about, data management, how companies work, finances, etc., etc. So I would say that as an international student, you will have a easier time finding your first jobs in that speciality compared to human resources. Of course, if you want to work in human resources like employer branding or something else that is more back office, like building an organization or organizational culture, that is a whole different discussion, but that is a decision that you need to make during your studies. Anyways, I can tell you that, doing a degree in business in Finland, no matter what your specialization or major is anyways a good thing. And as long as you start, prepping yourself for future job application periods in time, you should do great. So, Mahesh, one thing that I really recommend you to do, and this applies to every single one who is actually in the stream currently, just to reiterate myself, or reiterate what I was saying, is go to my channel and check out these 4 videos. So in these videos, in this playlist, I'm basically talking about working as an international student in Finland and working as an international graduate in Finland. So, for example, I have a video about when is the best time to apply for jobs in Finland. This is really important for you to know as a student, especially, for example, the summer job application period for this year, 2021, has basically started. And it's heating up as we go towards February, March. And after March is already getting quite late. So you need to really know when to apply for jobs. Then I talk about average salaries, where to find salary information in Finland as an international person. Of course, first, so that you know how much you need to be paid so that you can actually negotiate your salary. But then second, of course, that you will not be fooled about the potential salary. So you have an idea how much you should be paid. Then I talk about how much a student can work part-time during their studies, and more importantly, how and where to find part-time jobs during your studies. This is super important, and I go through 15 different tools or websites that you can use to find a job. I think this is one of the topics where most international students in Finland have the biggest issues with, because they don't know where to actually look for the jobs. So this is super good, a good video for every single one of you, no matter if you're already in Finland or coming here in the future. Cool. The next question comes from Amitesh Yadav from India. And Amitesh is applying to study a bachelor's degree in the University of Oulu and or the Oulu University of Applied Sciences in the field of computer engineering. And Amitesh is applying in the next application period to do a bachelor's, so basically now. Awesome. And the question is, I submitted my application form earlier this morning. Hey, awesome. Congratulations. Well done. I will keep my fingers crossed. I really hope that you get admitted. Amitesh, if you could actually do a favor, if and when you get admitted to study in Finland, please let me know. I would love to know when community members actually get a study place in Finland. That would make my day. That would be awesome. I have been told about some online entrance exams. I am yet to know the syllabus and pattern of these entrance exams. Can you brief me if you have any idea regarding them, the exams? Unfortunately, no, I don't. So if you are talking about the entrance exams that some universities of applied sciences have as a part of their application process, unfortunately, I can't help you here because the entrance exams depend on the school, on the degree that you apply to. Excuse me. And they vary from year to year. And I would basically need to look into every single exam from every single school every year to keep updated. And the problem is that these exams are usually not public, so only the people who apply can see the questions. And that's not possible for me. So unfortunately, I don't have any information here. Nevertheless, please let me know if you get admitted. That would mean the world to me. Yevgenia, welcome back. Awesome to have you here, back here. If you did not see my answer to your second question, I did that, I think, maybe like 45 minutes ago or so. So if you scroll back, I actually answered your question about the rental system, or at least I'll give you a bit of context. Guys, I think I will take a super short break, have a bit of water, and go back into the live chat and recognize a couple of people who have actually joined the stream, and maybe answer a couple of questions quickly from the chat as well. Because I think we have been already going for 2 hours. Yeah. We have been going for 2 hours non-stop, and I think this might be a good time to stop for just a second. Henry saying, thank you, viele Grüße aus Deutschland. You're most welcome. Bitte schön. I was answering Henry's question. And then we have Polar Echo saying that I think that when it comes to technology-related fields Finnish universities are among the best. Absolutely. Yeah, so actually Finnish universities are ranked among some of the best universities in the world in technology and software development. Then we have a question from Anton. I hope that also comes in the form a bit later. And Denny saying that I'm coming for a bachelor's. Thanks for the answer. You're most welcome. Akash saying hi Akash. Awesome to have you here in the stream. Let's see, we have Leonardo Jose Dominguez Benitez saying, have to go. I hope to watch the whole video and the questions I made afterwards. Thanks for your time. You're welcome. I will try to get to your question during this stream. If not here, then in the beginning of the next stream, at least. Abdullah is saying, please answer my question. If you posted your question into the Google form, I will get to it after I have in a first come first serve basis, so don't worry about it. Nashid saying, applying in joint application this spring in English, how many chances do you have to get a full scholarship for bachelor's? Just one. So you can only apply for the scholarship when you apply for the degree itself, so you cannot apply for them afterwards. Lordian254 asking, how can I get a scholarship in Finland fully sponsored as a first-year student from Kenya? The country you come from doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is how good of an applicant you are, how highly you score. And as I've been talking through during the stream, there's no way for me to say for sure what the minimum requirements are to getting a scholarship. Unfortunately, that's just how the way it is. Diorgos Mustakidis saying, hi, I'm from Greece and I'm interested in studying software engineering in Finland, but is it necessary for myself to find a part-time job so to pay for my expenses? Oh, so it is necessary, right? So is it easy for someone there to study and work at the same time? Yeah, I would say that it's easy to work and study at the same time. However, your problem is going to be finding a job, especially in the early years of your studies, especially if you come here to study bachelor's. HSM FRJ asking, what is the most convenient and affordable phone plan? That's actually a good question. I myself have a phone plan from Elisa. It's one of the providers or carriers in Finland. And I actually do have links for their phone plans in all of my other videos. I do not have them in my live streams, but if you go to any of my previous videos and go to the description box below, there is actually a link to the phone carriers or the websites. And I think I have a 4G plan with a limitless amount of internet usage, limitless text, phones, and that's like 25 euros per month. So really cheap. HSM also asking, which bank should I choose? Really hard question for me. I'm actually a customer of 3 different banks myself. So any of the big banks that operate in Finland, all of them are really good. There's really not that many differences here. The costs are almost the same. The services are almost the same. So I would say that whichever you find, good for yourself is good. There's Nordea, OP Bank, Danske Bank, what else? S-Bank, Ålandsbanken, etc., etc. There's multiple ones. Mahesh saying, thanks for the info. You're most welcome. Yevgenia saying that I will rewatch the answer. Awesome. Go. Maybe I think it was like 45 minutes backwards. And Yevgenia also asking, what microphone do I use? So I actually have a Shure SM7. No, actually, sorry. Moment. So I actually got this new microphone a while ago. It's called the Shure MV7 podcasting microphone. It's like the, little brother for the Shure MSB7, which is the professional grade microphone. I think this is great. It's not too expensive, and it plugs directly into my computer, and the sound quality is, I think, really great. And Abdullah asking, are you okay, Oliver? You don't have corona, right? No, don't worry about it. I just have a sore throat. I actually got myself tested just before New Year's because we were spending the New Year's with our friends, and I just wanted to get myself tested just in case. I didn't have any symptoms, but testing in Finland is actually pretty well done. So it took me 4 hours from the moment that I noticed that I want to get tested to actually getting a test. It did cost something, but the insurance is actually going to cover it. So cool. Amitesh saying, thanks so much for the replying. For replying, I will surely tell you when my application will be approved. Awesome. Love hearing that. Leah, don't worry. I will get to your question. Don't worry about it. I will jump back into the form in just a second. Scarlett saying, hey Oliver, I have no questions this time. I just wanted to hear your transmission in the background. Very good job. That's really cool. Awesome to have you here, Scarlett, as always. And if you have any questions afterwards, or if you want to, save a question for the future streams, post your question in the Google form. And as you know, I will always start my next stream from questions that I had last week that I didn't have the time to go through. So yeah. All right. I will soon jump back into the form itself, but before I do that, I just wanted to do a really quick plug. So guys, first of all, if you're getting value out of this live stream and the content that I do on the channel, I would really appreciate it if you could actually press the like button. We're currently in 33 likes. It would be awesome to get to 45 before the end of the stream. And in addition, if you're actually getting value of what I'm doing here on the channel, I would really appreciate it. Really appreciate if you would consider becoming a channel member. So how you can do this is by basically clicking the join button right here on the channel page or just below the video. And when you click the join button, you can actually see that we have four different membership levels, each of which grants you specific benefits the higher you go in the levels. So for example, if you become a master's or grad student member, you will actually get, for example, behind the scenes videos, shout outs in the videos, access to an exclusive Discord channel, as well as and access to members only live streams. So that is awesome. So if you're getting value what I'm doing here, I would really appreciate you guys considering becoming a channel member. If not, that's fine. I still appreciate every single one of you, and I just want to know that you guys are enabling me to do YouTube as a job, which is awesome, especially with such a small channel, and I really appreciate every single one of you. Anyways, that's my break. Let's jump back into the questions. The next one comes from Alexandra from Romania. And Alexandra is already studying in Finland, doing her PhD in educational sciences and multicultural education. So early education. And the question is, which are the Finnish institutions and foundations that offer scholarships for PhD students? Are they to be found centralized somewhere? That is a great question. Let me just check it out. Yeah, so there are specific foundations that do fund academic research in Finland. Usually they are gathered on university pages. And the thing is that since you are doing your PhD in a very specific field, I would start looking for the funding options from your university website, so Åbo Academy. I would also recommend that you reach out to older, more senior PhD students, as well as your tutor and your study coordinator, and especially your tutor or your professor for the different unions. I've mentioned this before in the live streams and in videos. So my brother is actually doing his PhD in biology, and we've been planning on doing a playlist of PhD questions about PhD studies in Finland, but because he's doing his research right now, we don't have the time to do the videos, within the next weeks. So it will take some time for us to do them or get the playlist done. However, he's a wizard with funding applications and grants, and he will be able to provide you guys with quite a lot of good information. However, so Alexandra, please keep your eyes open and check all the foundations that I'm going to show you right now. So this is from the website, Aalto University website. So please take this into account when you're looking at this, because some of them may only fund business research. However, there are also other stuff, other fields that these same unions and funds may also fund. So, HSA Foundation for scholarships and grants. The Yrjö Jansson Foundation is a really big foundation founded by Yrjö Jansson. We have the Vuorineuvos Tekn, Marcus Wallenberg's Tukisäätiö. This is mostly for economic research, but also for other stuff. The Finnish Cultural Foundation, Heikki and Vilma Honkanen Foundation, and most importantly, Jenni and Antti Vihuri Foundation. Jenni and Antti Vihuri are I think from the Vihuri family, which is one of the biggest industrial families in Finland, and they have a foundation that funds a lot of basic research. So I think that applying for their grants is a very good option for you now and in the future. So I hope that these at least get you started. Again, heed the other advice as well. Check out the Obo Academy website as well. Talk to senior PhD students, your tutor, and your professor. Hey, we got a new channel member, Abdullah bin Amir. Awesome. Welcome to channel membership. Thank you so much to becoming a freshman member. I appreciate that so much. If you go to the YouTube channel, you can already find some member content there. I started the membership last year, so I don't have that much content there, for example, the behind the scenes content, but I will start making behind the scenes content basically this or next week, and I will start making them regular, actually using the new YouTube Shorts feature, and I really hope that you guys are going to enjoy them because I'm going to start showing, my basic day-to-day life in Finland as a student and, as a person, working as an entrepreneur. So I hope that that's going to be something really fun for you guys. And again, I appreciate that so much. Awesome. The next question comes from Rifat Rahman, nicknamed Turjo. And Turjo is coming from Bangladesh, and he's applying to study a master's in Aalto University or Tampere University in the next application period, and in the fields of electrical engineering or computer sciences. And the question is, when it comes to working in Finland, I understand that knowing Finnish helps you stand out from other applicants. But how does one show their Finnish proficiency as an international student? Really good question. So first of all, I want to address the comment / the idea that it is beneficial for you to speak Finnish to separate yourself from other job applicants. That is true, of course. However, unless you speak good enough Finnish to actually, utilize that in a day-to-day context, I would say that it's enough for you to learn, just some of the basics like greetings and introducing yourself and having this super, super simple, small talk. That is going to be impressive enough for most employers because we Finns know that the Finnish language is so darn difficult that we're not expecting international people to learn it. And I'm impressed every single time any international person comes to me and introduces them to me in Finnish. It doesn't matter if they change back to English immediately after that. I'm already impressed and I'm awakened, right? And that is super, super beneficial when you go, for example, into a job interview. Because the one thing in a job, your one goal in a job interview is, two goals in a job interview is to let the recruiter or hiring manager know that you're proficient enough for the job. That's it. The second is you need to make sure that they remember you out of everyone else. And knowing at least some Finnish, introducing yourself or thanking or saying hello, that can actually be enough for you to, stand out from all the other applicants. So just keep this in mind. There are also official certificates for you that you can use if you want to do a certificate of language proficiency. I don't exactly remember where you can find them, but if you want to put the same question into our Discord server, again, if you guys for some reason are not yet a member of our Discord server, there's a link in the description box below. You can join through there. Post the same question there, and I will actually look up the link, and I can actually link you the web page for the certificates, and you can check it out. Awesome. The next question comes from Abdullah El Safti, who comes from Egypt, and he's applying to Aalto University to do a PhD in the next application period, and in the field of construction project management. Awesome. The questions are, could I apply for a PhD degree with my own thesis proposal? That is a very good question. And actually, now that you mention it, I actually think that when you apply for a PhD, you actually might need to have a PhD proposal. You need to have a research idea in order to apply, if I remember correctly. But now that you mention it, this sounds super familiar to me. And I know that at least with some universities in Finland, in order for you to be admitted to a PhD, you need to already have a PhD research idea for them to accept you. So yes, absolutely. And then question: are PhD degrees paid? Are PhD students or PhD student positions paid like in Sweden? Partly yes, partly no. So this depends a bit on the university. So some universities in Finland, for example, Aalto University, which you're applying to, actually have really good funding options for their PhD students. And for example, I think if you apply for a PhD in economics, they pay for 2 years of your studies, first 2 years of your PhD, I think, if I remember correctly. I checked this couple of years ago, so it might have changed. But after that, you need to start funding your research yourself, so through grants and different unions, etc., or grants and scholarships. With some universities don't have as good, grants for their PhD students. So, for example, you might have funding for your first year, and then you need to start funding on your own. For example, my brother, who studies at is doing his PhD in the University of Eastern Finland. He actually he's doing his 4th year, I think, in his PhD, and he has to fully fund his own PhD studies, I think, through grants, etc. But that is basically your salary in that point. So if you get fully funded for 2 years, that means that that's your salary basically. So you don't necessarily have to invest in lab equipment, etc. Then there's one more question. Can I apply for a PhD in any other Finnish universities? Your master's in Egypt is... Oh, sorry. Can I apply for any other for PhDs in any other Finnish universities? I don't know. Construction project management is a very specific field. First of all, the PhD program, it might not be named specifically that at the different universities. So keep that in mind. And unfortunately, I don't remember out of the top of my head in which universities they have construction or these kind of engineering faculties. So keep that in mind. Abdullah saying, thank you for the praise. Thank you yourself. You're doing awesome stuff, man. Would love to know you better. Guys, if you're able to I would actually love to see every single one of you if and when you get admitted to Finland. Once we get rid of Corona, I would love to organize some kind of a subscriber meetup in Helsinki if that's possible. So yeah, definitely if you want to keep in touch, join the Discord server if you haven't, and let's keep discussions going on there. And I will keep doing what I do, and let's keep in touch. Awesome. Anyways, the next question comes from Yash from India, and Yash is still in high school but interested in doing a bachelor's. Don't yet know in which field. And the question is, what is the visa ratio for countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal? And how much money do I have to show for getting a visa or residence permit? So about the visa ratios, I have no idea. I've never actually stumbled upon this kind of a number in the public information that the Finnish Immigration Service gives. So unfortunately, I cannot give you any answer here. However, the question, how much money do I have to show for getting a residence permit as a student? That's a really good question. And I can actually show you that right away. So if you look for the Finnish Immigration Service website and you look for residence permits, first resident permit, and studying in Finland, and then means of support, you come to this page, income requirements for students. So when you apply for a residence permit in Finland, in addition to covering your tuition fees, you need to have at least 560 euros at your disposal every month to be able to pay for your accommodation, food, and other needs. So this means that you are not allowed to use this 560 euros to pay for your tuition. So you need to have at minimum 560 euros per month for the entire duration of your residency in order to be able to get a residence permit. So if you don't have this money, then you're not able to move to Finland. Also, again, take into account that you need to be able to also pay for your tuition. And as I mentioned in a couple of previous videos, excuse me, 560 euros is actually not that much in the Helsinki metropolitan area. So if you move to Helsinki or Espoo, for example, to study at the Aalto University or University of Helsinki, I would recommend that you should have at least 750 or 800 euros per month, because if you have 560 euros, you might be able to make it so and so, but you will not be able to have any fun. You will not be able to go into any parties or anything like this, because all of your money is going to go to your monthly necessities like rent, groceries, etc. Julian, what's up? Awesome to have you in the chat or in the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. Again, Happy New Year. I hope you had awesome holidays and you were able to dust off the year or the crap show that was 2020. And I hope that everyone is going to have a better 2021. Awesome. The next question comes from Fleischmann, Fleisch, again from Hungary. And the question is, thanks you, Oliver, for the explanation. But this raised another question. Go ahead. Will completing a bachelor's like this, for example, computational engineering, qualify me for getting a master's degree in computer sciences? Excellent question. I'm sorry I did not address this there and then. I actually was supposed to, but I totally forgot. Yes. You actually, Fleisch, I'm currently actually answering your question. Good timing. So yes, these actually will qualify you to apply for a master's in master's in computer sciences. Let's see. So let me just pull this up once more for you so you can actually see this. So what we were talking about previously with Fleisch was basically the fact that many of the bachelor's degrees done in Finland in English might not be necessarily named as clearly. For example, in Finland, there aren't any English-taught bachelor's degrees in computer sciences. However, that does not mean that we don't teach computer sciences in English. The degrees are simply named in a different manner. For example, if you do a bachelor's program in science and technology, data science, this is basically almost similar to what most of you would think of computer sciences. There might be some mix and match with other topics as well. But if you look at the degree or the structure, they have mathematics, programming, so it's computer sciences directly, industrial engineering and management, and then other studies as well. And then you're able to do programming, software engineering, cloud computing, whatever you want to do as your minor. However, so to your question about uh, circuiting. Yeah, so Fleisch, to your question about the qualifications, by completing the Aalto Bachelor's Program in Science and Technology, you will earn a Bachelor's of Science in Technology, or Tekniikan kandidati in Finnish. It's the Finnish degree. After graduating from the BSc program, the student automatically has the right to continue studies in selected master's programs. By completing the master's program in field of technology, blah, 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 you will earn a master's in science. This bachelor's degree gives you a solid basis for further studies in the Aalto University master's programs, for example, in majors in computer, communication, and information sciences, mathematics and operations research, life science technologies, and electrical engineering. In addition, as a student in the data science major, you are entitled to continue your studies at a master's level in many other fields as well. And you can find a full list of Aalto University master's programs on their website, and there's a bunch of them. Aalto University has like 52 different English-taught master's degrees across the different fields. So absolutely you can do computer sciences. Again, the master's program might not be named specifically Masters in Computer Sciences, but it's basically the same thing. And you have more variability, and you have more actually selection options for selecting different things for yourself. So absolutely yes. Good question. Great question. The next one comes from sorry for butchering your name, Pkolhe. PK is very difficult for me. Pkolhe, I think. Tell me if it's at least somewhat correct. Pkolhe is from India and has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, and has not yet decided a school, but is interested in doing a master's in business. And the question is, can you suggest some business majors in Finland in English, along with its eligibility criteria and some of the best schools? There's a ton. So school, in terms of schools, I can basically recommend any of the Finnish business schools. So Aalto University School of Business, Turku University School of Business, Oulu University School of Business, Vaasa, Mikkeli, Jyväskylä. All of the schools of business in Finland are really, really high quality, and the topic that you want to study is, I think, more important. However, if we look at Aalto University master's degrees, excuse me. Let me see. Excuse me. I will pull this out. Just a moment. Here we go. So if we simply look at Aalto University, so that's one university, and we look at their master's level business degrees in English. So we choose English, we choose masters, and then we choose business and economics. There's 9 different results. So you have masters in accounting, creative sustainability, economics, finance, global management, information and service management, design, business management, international design and business management, management and international business, and marketing. In addition, under each of these, you have multiple different paths that you can actually take. So, for example, a master's program in global management, there's multiple different things that you can actually study underneath this major. So definitely, choose whatever is most suitable for you, most interesting to you. I did my bachelor's in accounting. I hated it, and because I'm not a numbers guy. And then I actually went to do my master's in a program called Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management that is no longer available. And I'm about to graduate. I just have to finish my thesis. I'm really close to finishing it. I should be done by the end of next month. And graduate as masters. But yeah, so definitely Aalto University School of Business, I would say that, for example, masters in economics or finance, perfect. choices, and graduating from those, you will have excellent career opportunities in the field of business. About the eligibility criteria, you have to check out the degree pages for each of these degrees. The eligibility criteria depend on from each school and each degree program, so there's no way for me to say for sure. Guys, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. I actually have to leave in just a second. There's so many questions left in the form that I'm unfortunately not able to go through all of them. I can take a couple more questions and then I have to end the stream. But I will just go through these really quickly. The next one comes from Devansh, who comes from India, doing about to apply for a bachelor's in Aalto University, or TAMK, Applied University of Applied Sciences, in the field of design. And the question is, do you have to know Finnish language in order to work in food delivery jobs, and is it a good job option for students? Really good question, actually. No, you don't. Actually, this is a very good option for students as a part-time job. Food delivery jobs, there's a couple of companies in Finland that operate, and they actually can pay you quite good money if you do a lot of hours and do a lot of deliveries. No, you don't need Finnish for them, so they're perfect for students. You can work whenever you want, so it's perfect for part-time. You can do days or evenings or mornings or nights, because people use delivery services nowadays, 24/7. And it's actually a really good job option for students during the summer and during the winter, because you can, depending on whether you move with a bicycle or with an electric scooter, it's actually good for you as well, and you can actually do quite a good money. Really, really, really good question. I've actually never covered this topic before. Great question. I hope that this satisfied your. This was a satisfactory answer. The next one comes from Reeve Sandigan from the Philippines, and Reeve is applying to study at the Arcadia University of, I think, Applied Sciences. Arcadia University. To do a master's in international business. And the question is, I just want to ask about the COVID virus situation in Finland. Is it practical for me to apply in the university admission this coming autumn, knowing the virus condition, or do I need to delay my plan? What is your stand about this matter? Thanks so much. My stand about this is that the situation changes every single day. What I can say is that Finland is one of the best countries in the world in dealing with COVID. And we're actually doing, pretty well considering what kind of a crap show this has been. And our government has worked really, really hard, and our healthcare system works really, really well. And especially considering that the vaccinations have already started, I highly recommend that you apply to study this upcoming autumn, so starting in September or August 2021, because my hopes are that the situation has not necessarily fully passed, but that we're almost past the situation. And we're doing good compared to the rest of the world. Disclaimer, my personal opinion. The next question comes from Arun Prakash, and he comes from India and has not yet decided whether or not he wants to... is applying in the next application period, not yet decided on the school, but wants to do a master's in information technology, programming, or development. Cool. And the question is, hi, Oliver. I'm not interested in business studies, but I'm interested in information technology, programming, or software development. At present, I'm doing my undergraduate program in bachelor's in IT in Dr. G.R. Damodaras College of Sciences. Awesome. Please suggest some better ideas for to opt for a master's abroad. I definitely recommend that you apply to do a master's in software development or IT in Finland, because there's a huge, massive demand for talented IT employees in Finland, and if you do a master's here and you know what you're doing, I will guarantee that you have good career prospects and you can actually achieve really high salaries in Finland because there's such a darn high demand for software developers and different kind of computer scientists in Finland. Aalto University is your best bet. Then after that, I would say that, for example, the University of Turku is a really good option. Vaasa, the University of Helsinki is also one. They don't have computer sciences per se, but data management. And yeah, I would say that definitely apply for Aalto University, different computer science or IT master's programs. The next one comes from Akash, who's from the US and applying to study at bachelor's at Aalto in mechatronics in the next application period, starting today. And saying, sorry, Oliver, for spamming. No worries, that's fine. The question is how to get a scholarship in Aalto University. I'm sorry, Akash, again, I have to refer to my earlier answers to other people. There's no way for me to know specifically what are the minimum requirements to get a scholarship. However, I just a while ago released a video where I showed you guys how you can actually apply for a scholarship. And let me see. I will post that video to the chat. So this does not exactly apply to you because you're applying for a bachelor's degree. This video was the example in this video was a master's degree. However, the system is same. So when you apply for when you apply to Aalto University, you apply for the scholarships with the same application form as that you use to apply for the university itself. So there's no additional forms that you need to use or anything. However, what is really important for you to understand is that when you fill out the application form for the university, you have to remember to check the box where they ask you whether or not you want to apply for a scholarship. Because if you don't do it in the application form, you cannot apply for the scholarships afterwards. So you need to apply for the scholarships at the same time as you apply for the school as well. There's basically two types of scholarships in Aalto University that you apply to at the same time you apply to the school. They have a 50% scholarship and a 100% scholarship. Neither of them cover any of your living costs. They only cover your tuition fees. The 50% one covers 50% of your tuition fee. The 100% one covers 100% of your tuition fee. That's it. To be as short as possible. Anyways, guys, I think I have to end here. We've been going for 2.5 hours. I need to get to the stores before they close up at 9. Then I will get home and get some sleep. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're currently at 45 likes. I would really appreciate, guys, if you have been getting some value out of this live stream and the content on the channel, please give this live stream a thumbs up. It would be awesome to get to 50 likes before I end the stream. In addition, if you have any more questions, feel free to join our Discord server. Again, if you, for some reason, are not a member of our Discord server, the idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in studying and working in Finland. And in the server, I post updates about videos and live streams, and we have more personal conversation about these topics. And you can find a link to join the server in the description box below. Again, in addition, if you are if you find what I'm doing here on the channel valuable, do consider joining as a channel member. As a channel member, you get some additional perks. In addition to my regular content and these live streams, you can check out the perks by clicking the join button below the video right there. And yeah. If you have any more questions, please leave them into the Google form. Any questions that I did not have the time to answer today, I will get back to next week in next week's stream. So next Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern European Standard Time. And I will have a couple of videos coming out before that, and I hope that you enjoy them. Finally, I would say if you have not yet turned on notifications to the channel, go ahead and turn on all notifications because that is the only way for you to make sure that you actually see my new uploads as I put them on YouTube. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us for this long